Hey everybody, it's Anna. So today is the third Sunday of Advent, and I'm doing a little series where I'm looking at the 4 Sundays of Advent and the themes of those Sundays and matching them with the first 4 steps of the major arcana. So the first Sunday of Advent, the theme is hope, and we connected it to the magician. Last Sunday was the theme was the second Sunday of Advent. The theme is peace, and we connected it to the high priestess. And today's theme is joy. And we're connecting it, obviously, to the third step in the major arcana, which is the Empress. So it's such a great match, I think. So I think of the Empress as being the birthing energy, the manifesting energy of the major arcana. So what has been like planted and has been kind of germinating is now ready to be made manifest in the physical world. And so the image on the right in the Rider-Waite is the Empress laying on a chaise lounge. It's really, I think, the only image in the major arcana, or maybe anywhere, where we have someone like lying down, like they're peaceful. Oh, there is the Four of Swords. There is another place. But anyway, so she's this sort of magnificent creature who's just lying down, like she's totally relaxed. She's surrounded by the field of wheat, and she's got trees, and there's a river, and there's pomegranates on her clothes, and she's wearing a crown of stars. I mean, she is surrounded by splendor, and she is the creator of the splendor. She's the birther of the splendor. So everything is flowing through her from the spiritual realm through her into the physical realm. And so you can imagine she's very busy, right? She's surrounded by all these things that have passed through her, and yet she's completely at ease because she's resting on this chase. And I think that that's a perfect demonstration of creative flow. That the reason it's so easy, she's engaged, but she's relaxed because there's no resistance to the creative flow. There's no judgment, question, no like vigilance around it. It's like the mind is not engaged, right? The mind is quiet while something is happening. And so she's able to fully lend her energy into the work of this birthing. And so I think that's really easy to connect that sense of creative flow and easy flow with the experience of joy. So I think of joy, it's a very high level vibration, maybe the highest vibration we can feel as humans. There's a lot of vivacity in it. There's a lot of vibrancy in it. There's lots of energy. And it's really, once joy gets flowing, it's kind of unstoppable, which is also the idea of this birthing. It's once you allow it, you agree to it, you relax into it. Like there is this sort of natural flow that moves not in spite of you because you're agreeing to do it, but like, even if you don't know where it's going. I do think that's another piece of the Empress is I think, as is true in any kind of birthing situation, you know you're birthing something, but you don't really know what it is until it comes onto the planet. You may not, even if you're pregnant with a child, you don't know what the child will be like. You don't really know the child yet. So the birthing not only is an act of joy and vibration, but it's also a discovery. Like it's a discovery. You suddenly go, oh, so that's you, right? So it's like she's being surprised and delighted by what is coming through her. So it's fun. It's an adventure, right? And I think of joy as being kind of reckless like that. We don't know what's coming up, but let's do it. Let's go all the way in. Let's lend our energy, lend a willingness to that energetic flow. So the scripture passages that connected today were, the one I'm going to focus on is the Magnificat, which is the prayer or the song of Mary, which of course, Mary, the mother of Christ, the one who births Christ into the world, we can easily see how she connects to the Empress, right? So there's in the scripture, there's a point where she sings a song of praise. And in the song of praise, she talks about the coming of the Christ and how the poor will be filled and the filled will be made poor. Right. So, and a lot of times social justice theologians will say, yeah, we're going to uproot the social order, right? We're going to get rid of the rich and support the poor, which is okay. But that's one way to read it. But the way I read it is that those who are empty means that means if we're empty, we're clear, we're open, right? There's nothing in the way of joy. We don't have lots of things going on. We have no obstacles. So we're sort of empty and available. And if we are filled, well, that can mean we're filled with things we like. So it's not saying that you're filled with bad things. But if you have a lot of stuff in you, think about like a river flowing, right? If the riverbed is flat and open, the river flows really easily. If there's lots of boulders and lots of sticks and trees coming coming out of the river. Like the flow of the river it's slower, and it can even be stopped altogether depending on how much debris is in the river. So the idea is like if you have lots of stuff, joy will flow less well through you. And if you have nothing, if you sort of clear the path for joy and made yourself available to joy, then when it flows without any obstacles, any challenges. So part of the discipline of joy, I think, is identifying where the obstacles are that are slowing us down. If you're going to prioritize joy, and I'm going to come back to that, you may not want to prioritize joy, but if you are going to do that, then you look for the places that feel heavy, that feel resistant, that feel icky, that feel painful, because those are all they're contradicting energies to joy, right? That means you're going to want to heal things. You're going to want to help your mind let go of old mindsets. You're going to want to move away from certain activities. Maybe there's different things you can do. But the point is, once you're like, if you're going to have a baby, right, you kind of, everything becomes about, especially toward the end, everything becomes about making sure you've got your bag ready, the doctor you're going to go see, the route to the hospital. All the paths are cleared. All the ways have been made straight. So when this happens, everything's about making it, responding to the call, right? So when joy comes, we want to be ready. So whatever might be a little out of place, a little out of whack, we want to clear that out so that there's full access for joy to come into the world. We've done our part to say yes and to prepare the way for joy. There's also in scripture, this is also John the Baptist, or the story of John the Baptist, which was also this morning, which is the joy, the work of John the Baptist is to make the way straight, right? To make the way straight for the coming of the Christ. That means we're raising the valleys, we're lowering the hills, we're clearing the path, right? So like making things ready so that when the Christ comes, when the baby is born, when the joy flows, we knew it was coming, we prepared for it, and we made the way straight. So why might we not want to do that? Why might we not want to clear the path, at least not completely, for joy? I think there's a couple of reasons why we might not want to do that. One is that our mind doesn't fully believe in it. Like the mind says, well, you can't just live in joy. You can't just make that your full priority. You have to take care of business. You've got bills to pay. You've got people relying on you. Those are real concerns the mind has. The mind is correct. We live in a physical world. There are certain challenges to living in a physical world. And there's experiences of scarcity, and there's experiences of physical needs and wellness. All that's true. So the mind is lifting up to you that, hey, you know what? We live in a physical world. I know how the physical world works, and we have to be mindful of how reality is, right? I'm not saying that's not true. I'm saying that is a narrow vision of how reality works, right? But the mind might very well say, well, we can't get rid of everything because, we got to hold on to some of these things. You can't just throw everything out, right? In which case the mind is resistant to clearing the path. Joy is not going to be our only single priority. We have to have other priorities. I would say it's good to know that. And there are times when you're not quite ready to do that yet. The mind is resistant. That's fair. There's a reason why the mind's resistant. I at least want to have a conversation with the mind and see if something else is possible. Or maybe there are some negotiable points. What are some things we might be able to at least ease back on? What can we start mitigating if they feel pretty heavy or difficult? Like we want the mind to be able to name its concerns. Because they're fair, but we also want the mind to be willing to negotiate and to be able to see things in a new way. That's the challenge. Yes, things look very linear and objective in the physical plane. Is that entirely true? Is something else possible? We want the mind to be open to that. So I wouldn't push yourself beyond what your mind is ready to do, because that's just enacting violence on yourself, right? But the other reason we might not want to clear the path all the way is because the mind is a little scared of what happens if you let joy flow. Because joy is crazy powerful, right? And it can move very quickly in a very unexpected way. So you really are kind of taking a major step of faith. We have no idea. As I said with the Empress, she is birthing, but she has no idea what's going to come out of this birthing process. So she is really just fully trusting that it's all going to be fine. She's not questioning it. She's not doubting it. She's not asking, well, how's this going to work out in the long run? She is in the moment allowing what's happening and saying it is good. She's trusting that it is good. So again, this is a mind challenge, which is, maybe we shouldn't go 90 miles an hour. Maybe we want to create some barriers to joy so that it goes 30 miles an hour, maybe 40 miles an hour. Again, that's the mind, which is fair. The mind trying to pick something that feels a little bit safer. So we want to understand that the mind is not objecting because it's just being a jerk. It's objecting because it has real concerns about safety and responsibility and survivability on the planet. We want the mind to be able to identify its concerns. Then we want to be able to challenge them. So why is the mind scared of joy getting into flow? Because once joy is in flow, it really is kind of an irresistible energy. At that point, we've kind of passed the point of no return. We are no longer in charge. That's scary for the mind until it really feels confident that the universe is benevolent and that we're like a genius at doing this. It's going to be, and even if the mind buys in, the mind's like, yeah, I believe the universe is on my side. I've cleared out all the pain points and I'm ready. It's still a pretty major act of faith. So I know in my life, I can identify places where I did get into the flow, but I created like stop points or like slower points that slowed me down. And it was because my mind was just not ready to like hit the gas and like just like pull off the brake pad. The mind was like, I want to have access to the brake pad, right? Now at some point, you go beyond what can be stopped, like you're working up to like kind of an irresistible flow. But if you need to ease up to it, I think it's really, really important to not judge yourself or get mad at yourself about it. Because let's say the mind's already a little bit nervous about going in full throttle. You think it's going to make the mind feel better if you're like, oh, mind, you're so dumb, you're so boring, you're like the mind judging itself for being nervous? Like, no, when someone's nervous, they need support and love and they need kindness and understanding. So you don't want it, you make it worse. Like if you discover you are kind of pulling back or you're not cleaning the path out all the way, you're not fully committing to joy. If you're doing that, it's because you're a little nervous. So be kind to the nervousness. Don't be angry with it or frustrated with it because that's just creating a bit of internal violence. Don't be violent. Just acknowledge it and say, okay, well, let's do what we can. If you make that much room for joy, it's pretty powerful. Even that much joy in your life is going to change stuff around. It's going to make more things possible. So if all you can manage is this much, you create a tiny little space in your life that flow can happen in, that's good enough for now. Rest assured, joy will come for you again and will broaden the path. So anyway, that is my meditation on joy and the Empress. I will see you next week for the final Sunday of Advent. See you then. Bye.